Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, the Nootropic Reviewer, and during this video today, you're going to learn about the best nootropics to take to increase dopamine levels, because dopamine is a very important neurotransmitter that's going to be responsible for you being more focused, having increased levels of productivity, and at the same time feeling really good about the process. And I've tried so many nootropics over the years, and these are some of my favorites. We're going to talk about 4 nootropics specifically. We'll talk about the pros, the cons, how to take them, and the side effects. And those 4 are going to be L-tyrosine, N-acetyl L-tyrosine, l-phenyalanine, and 4 would be Mucuna Pruriens. And the first one, I think most people are pretty familiar with, that's L-tyrosine, and the other form of tyrosine that most people often take is N-acetyl L-tyrosine. So with L-tyrosine, this one is like tried, tested, and true. I've been using it for many, many years, and I was first introduced to L-tyrosine because of the fact that I couldn't help but notice it was in every energy drink out there, every pre-workout product. Like, what the heck is this one ingredient, and why is it all there? And so I started using L-tyrosine with really solid results. L-tyrosine, it's an amino acid that's found in chicken breast. It's also found in egg whites. And what's so is when you take it in a fasted state, so you're not allowing it to compete with other amino acids during the digestion process, what will happen is you will feel more alert. You will feel better concentration. You'll definitely feel a lot more productive. So how I see L-tyrosine being critical as part of your daily regimen, could be using it either pre-workout or could be using it in the later portion of the day when you need a little bit of a kick, but you don't want to take caffeine, because caffeine, we of course know, can cause insomnia. It also does increase anxiety levels for a lot of people and makes them perform worse than their normal self. But I really like taking L-tyrosine pre-workout. And the way that I first started taking L-tyrosine wasn't necessarily to increase my dopamine levels. That happened by accident. What happened was I was really looking for ingredients and supplements that would help me have better workouts. And L-tyrosine actually has a lot of research concluding that it will help with your workouts. And that was working very well for me, but as a nice side effect, you can say it made me a lot more productive during the process and has become one of my favorite nootropics. I haven't built any sort of a tolerance to it, and a lot of people are ingesting huge amounts of it thinking that they need that much to improve their dopamine levels. I don't necessarily think so. I think dosages you see out there of like 2 to 3 grams a day are absolutely unnecessary. You're going to notice the stuff at a dosage of 750 milligrams, or you probably won't notice it at all. It's not like more is better. And as a matter of fact, I found that when you take too much L-tyrosine, what often happens is you're like so focused that your judgment is impaired and you really don't know what to focus on. For instance, you could be staring at the same thing, not really knowing what to do, but being very alert. It's an interesting feeling, and I've talked more about the L-tyrosine side effects during this video over here. Yes, it boosts dopamine. You definitely feel motivated, but it can, for some individuals, bring off some like nervous energy in which you feel a bit anxious. You don't feel like yourself necessarily, but you're still driven and you will get the work done. So perhaps if you're somebody who needs a bit of courage to get into some uncomfortable conversations, L-tyrosine is something like you can use because it'll boost your motivation, but you may not be as effective as you would like to be during that conversation. According to examine.com, they say L-tyrosine is an amino acid that is used as a precursor for the synthesis of the catecholamines dopamine and norepinephrine. And further, we can see benefits with working memory. We can see benefits with attention, decreased stress levels, increased subjective well-being, meaning you're actually happier, symptoms of sleep deprivation. There's a lot of benefits from taking L-tyrosine. Like I've also found when I'm a little bit tired, I can take some L-tyrosine and it seems to be working very well. However, it's really important that you do take it fasted if you're not feeling it. Some people can get away with having it with a meal and they still notice it working. I'm not somebody like that. I almost find like the hungrier I am, the more L-tyrosine seems to be working, and the more stressed out I am, the more I see L-tyrosine working as well. So a great way of going about taking L-tyrosine would be taking a smaller dose, like 500 milligrams. That's typically how it's encapsulated, in either 500 milligram pills or sometimes 750 milligram pills. And then where you may want to take a little bit more L-tyrosine is if you're using it pre-workout. I found that dosages like 1 gram up to 1.5 gram give me like the kick I need to ensure that I'm having a good level of focus throughout a longer workout, like hour, half. The second nootropic that we'll talk about during this video, that's N-acetyl L-tyrosine, which is supposedly the more bioavailable form of L-tyrosine. I've tried both. I've gone back and forth thinking like N-acetyl L-tyrosine might be better because I'm more commonly seeing it in some of the energy drinks out there, like 5 Hour Energy, for instance. But if you were to compare the two, there is a night and day difference, and L-tyrosine is far better. You'll find that N-acetyl L-tyrosine may be more potent. Research does show that it can actually cross the blood-brain barrier easier than L-tyrosine, which would make it such that N-acetyl L-tyrosine would be more effective. But even when I try like the same dose, so if I were to take 1 gram of L-tyrosine and 1 gram of N-acetyl L-tyrosine, there's no question the 1 gram of L-tyrosine definitely lasts longer. It feels better. I'm noticing it. I feel more alert. With N-acetyl L-tyrosine, the one thing I like about it and why it may make sense to consider using both is that it feels like N-acetyl L-tyrosine hits you a lot faster. Like with L-tyrosine, you take it and you need to wait it for about 20 minutes, but with N-acetyl L-tyrosine, it's like go from the moment you take it, your dopamine's up. However, on the flip side, unfortunately, and what I dislike most about N-acetyl L-tyrosine is that it doesn't last for too long. I'm talking like you may take a dose of 350 milligrams. That's a pretty common serving size, and you will not feel it 45 minutes later. And then, unfortunately, you're using a supplement that you want to boost dopamine levels so you can get a kick, not just for a moment, but for the course of the day. And so for that reason, I wouldn't consider using N-acetyl L-tyrosine unless for like very rare circumstances. Perhaps you're somebody that doesn't respond well to L-tyrosine, you get the anxiety, you get headaches, that sometimes happens, then N-acetyl L-tyrosine can be a decent alternative. And the next nootropic for boosting dopamine levels will be l-phenylalanine. It's been around for a while. I see l-phenyalanine as pretty safe to consume versus other nootropics. At the same time though, not that strong, and from my experience, not at all effective. It's an amino acid, it's naturally occurring. I see it as a relatively safe supplement to take, especially for long-term use. I've tried it in the capsule form, I've tried it in the powder form from various vendors and in various forms. Like you'll often see it marketed as PEA, phenylethylamine, which is often in pre-workout products. But why is it there? What does it do? It can be said to improve energy levels. Yes, we know that it boosts dopamine, but it's really nice taking nootropics that we can actually notice working, feel working, without having to wait months in order for us to see that they were actually doing something to begin with. And with this one supplement, I did enjoy taking a small dose of PEA along with caffeine, as it would often just create like a nice mood boost, but in terms of productivity, focus, concentration, really didn't get too much from it. And the common dose of l-phenylalanine is very similar to L-tyrosine, something like 500 milligrams once to twice a day. And the way that I look at it is like, maybe it feels 10 to 20% what L-tyrosine feels. Like I can definitely notice L-tyrosine working, but if I were to add a little bit of l-phenylalanine prior to my workouts when I'm ingesting L-tyrosine, perhaps I'll get like a slight kick, but I'm going to be better off just taking a little bit more caffeine or L-tyrosine, because l-phenylalanine is basically useless, unnecessary. I don't personally like it, but let me know if you think otherwise on this nootropic specifically. And the next nootropic that we're going to talk about is L-dopa, also known as Mucuna pruriens. Mucuna pruriens is a tropical legume that's native to Africa and tropical areas of Asia, and it contains L-dopa, and L-dopa converts right into dopamine, which sounds great. But in practice, it doesn't really work that well. And in the nootropic space, a lot of people know Mucuna pruriens as a nootropic they can take to boost their dopamine levels throughout the whole course of the day while just taking it once. Whereas that is not the case with L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine may give you a little bit of a kick, but the best practice with L-tyrosine is to take it several times throughout the course of the day. Not with Mucuna pruriens. As a matter of fact, it is actually featured in Quality of Mind, and we know Quality of Mind to be the best nootropic blend out there. They have spent a whole lot of money doing research formulating the best nootropic blend in order to improve productivity. However, this one ingredient, I don't understand necessarily why it's there. I've used Mucuna pruriens by itself for 60, even 90 days. I've tried time on it, tried time off of it. I didn't personally notice anything from it. Perhaps it was like a slight boost in motivation. Very hard to tell. Perhaps it's subtle. Let me know if you think otherwise with that. And the dosage of this one is pretty tricky. It's important to recognize because you can get it in nootropic blends, but also as a solo ingredient, you'll see it often marketed as L-dopa. And then it becomes important just to look at the actual ingredient facts, the supplement facts, and see the percentage of L-dopa that you're getting. Try it, see how you like it. I recommend you just start off with 1 capsule a day, first thing in the morning. Then often you can go up to 2, but be very mindful of the brand. Of course, make sure you're getting it from a credible source. And if you do notice anything, you'll probably see it happening after a couple of weeks. So with this one, with Mucuna pruriens, be mindful of that. Of the 4 nootropics, the one nootropic which does have research behind it actually building somewhat of a tolerance would be this one supplement, Mucuna pruriens. With L-Tyrosine, we only have anecdotes. I found that maybe like 40% of people perhaps need to cycle off of it, whereas the rest of the individuals like myself, we're lucky we can take it every single day. A good practice when it comes to cycling on and off these nootropics is by taking 6 weeks on followed by 2 weeks off, and then you can repeat that. Or if you're a bit less conservative, you can go up to 8 weeks on followed by 2 weeks off, and that's a good practice. Just be very mindful, and this is why it's so important to stay consistent, especially if you're somebody who's like an entrepreneur or like myself. I'm only paid on commission, so I'm very mindful of the results. And then of course, another neat way of gauging whether or not a nootropic is working and if you should go ahead and continue to consume it is go ahead and like ask your closest peers. Like say, hey, I've been taking this nootropic over the past couple of months. Have I been acting any different? Have I been acting different for the better, for the worse? Perhaps that feedback may be helpful. And what did you learn in this video, and what's something that's working for you when it comes to boosting your dopamine levels? I'd love to know. And if you are a new viewer, then consider subscribing. And if you'd like to chat with me one-on-one, you can do so over on Patreon or send me a direct message on Instagram. And of course, be sure to join our Discord server where we have a 24/7 chat room. We're having a whole lot of fun and we're answering questions in a time-sensitive fashion, which is what it's all about. I thank you for your interest in nootropics, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.